So, welcome to Northern Powerhouses, our business success stories series of interviews, where we discuss with local business leaders their backgrounds, their successes and challenges, and what's really driving them forwards. And this afternoon, I'm delighted that we have with us Yvonne and Simon at iThink 365. So, thank you both for joining us. And if you'd like to introduce yourselves, iThink 365, what you do and how you help people, that would be brilliant.
Well, thanks, Chris, for having us and inviting us onto your show. Yeah, really looking forward to this afternoon. So, I think 365, we will be 5 years old in September this year.
Brilliant.
We specialize in Microsoft 365. We specialize in helping businesses get more from Microsoft 365, improving productivity, collaboration, communication. Really, we're very sort of people centric. So,
Yes.
we kind of think, I think 365 likes to think that it's able to help businesses be successful through people and process. Obviously, generative AI is a big area as well. We've just been delivering our first few projects on that over the last couple of weeks. Yvonne, is there anything to add?
No, just I'm Yvonne, and I've been with the company since November 22. My background is accountancy, but I've got a very sort of a really good skill set. So I've come into this job and been able to utilise that skill set, I think, very well for iThink 365. And yeah, I feel like I'm a big part of the business now, and love it. Love technology now.
Yeah, Yvonne's been absolutely fantastic, and so brought in to kind of help manage the day-to-day, the operations, and now is helping us sort of in growth as well. So she's head of growth too. Myself, I own a business. It's been around for quite a few years. It got founded in 2007, but as an IT contractor vehicle.
Right.
And then as sort of IR35 and all of those sort of things came around, and about 2015, 2016, I started looking for other things to do, and 2019, so action spoke with an action coach and thought, right, yeah, I know a bit about business, but not that much. I'm a techie.
Brilliant.
I come from a development background,
Yep.
so let's get a coach and help us on this journey. So I'm heavily involved with Microsoft. I'm a Microsoft MVP, which is a most valued professional. All that means is that we help out sharing knowledge and expertise. And we run a user group called M365 North as well. So anybody's welcome to join that. You can find us on meetup.com. So yeah.
Wonderful. And from my perspective outside looking in for what you're doing, what you're doing is really supporting businesses, especially that have come the other side of COVID, where we've had to go into remote learning, remote working, remote leadership. You're connecting people together in a way that is absolutely required right now, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's interesting actually. So, I mean, probably about 2 years ago, I'd have thought, yeah, everyone just needs to stay remote working, and that's the way to go. And you get this really nice balance of life. But actually, there's got to be a blend.
Yes.
We do need to see and hang out with each
Yeah.
other. And Yvonne, we do sort of quite these pulse surveys, so we kind of capture the sentiment of our organisation. And one of the things people are saying is, actually, yeah, I do miss that physical
Yeah.
hanging out, and so we now meet up every twice a month now at
Brilliant.
our Wizzy workspace, and yeah, we have one day where it's just working together. We're not chatting about anything in particular, and then another day, which we've got tomorrow, actually, is our company away day.
And it works really well, doesn't it? It's I feel like since we started doing that as well, it's really lifted the rest of the team.
Yeah.
I think we used to do it once a month, but we do it twice a month, sort of religiously now, and it's really made a huge difference.
Brilliant.
People
Yeah.
need to see people and have that human contact at times.
Yeah, definitely. And people talked about the fact it's helped them as well. So
Yes.
Yes.
that's a big thing.
Yeah, and it's
The other
not
thing,
much, is it? It's just that one extra day a month. It's not a huge deal.
Yeah.
yeah. The other thing which we had as well brought in too, we have these daily stand-ups. So every morning we all
Great.
meet, and it's sort of from 9 o'clock till about quarter to 10. And it used to be that we just get straight into it and start,
Yeah.
the purpose of the stand-up is, what did I do yesterday? What have I got planned today? Have I got anything which is blocking me? And we always used to get straight into it. And then people said, actually, can we have 15 minutes where we just chat about.
Yeah.
So there might have been a few conversations about football this last couple of weeks.
A lot
Yes.
about football.
Yeah. But it's great, and that's
Yeah,
really helped kind of break down those barriers between the teams, and
yeah.
which is really important. So, yeah, it's a nice thing.
I think it's still so important that people feel they belong to a team, and
Yeah.
if we don't create that, however we do that, then we're probably going to lose people on a regular basis. And
I think it's educating people, isn't it? It's educating. I think we've sort of nailed it. We've got it down to we do it really well at iThink 365. Even when we all work remotely, I still feel like I'm really part of the team. I can call one of my teammates and I feel like they're in the same room as us. And, we have those sort of coffee break moments where I might just give David H a quick ring and have 5-10 minutes, and just being able to do things like that and having the tools to do that is really, really, it's so important.
So is it. One thing I've come to sort of believe, or I was going to realize, I'm not saying it's a fact, it's a belief, but is that for years businesses have had quite a comprehensive budget for finding and keeping clients, marketing, client delight, all that sort of stuff. But really, with the way the job market has moved over time, we need to spend a similar amount of focus and investment on finding and keeping great team members.
Totally agree.
And it's absolutely 100% important, because I think the growth of businesses now is primarily limited by its ability to resource the people rather than necessarily find clients.
Yeah, well, you saw that a lot with in COVID times, that push to remote working. Where I remember chatting to one of my friends, she works in HR, and she's like, "Well, we've just lost this developer, and he's going to work for a company in San Francisco, and it's twice his salary, and it's just incredible, that globalization of the market really makes a big difference. And it costs a lot in terms of money, but also resource. When somebody moves on, you might have recruitment fees, but it's also that loss of knowledge, the impact on the team, somebody coming in, bringing them up to speed. It does have a big impact on the business.
I mean, we've always had a statistic saying, and actually, it's an interesting statistic that we've quoted for a long time, which was it costs 6 times as much to get a new client as it does to keep one. And the same is true of team members. I'd suggest it's a very costly exercise. It's probably I would actually suggest it's probably more costly to replace an employee than it is to a client, because there's so much, as you say, recruitment for starters, but then the learning, the training, the lack of productivity that you're probably going to get at the start of that employment. So focusing on keeping people is absolutely vital, I think, nowadays.
Yeah, it's funny. We've got a few products. Over the last probably 2 years, what we do is is a professional services. And you get the feast and famine, the peaks and the troughs.
Yep.
We were looking at ways of leveling that off, and we've got a set of software as service products, but they are all geared up around that employee celebration, really. So one around birthdays and work anniversaries and new starters and things. But we now use those because it reminds me, oh shoot, I've got to go and do that annual review. I did one this morning. It's something, it was one of our team, Stuart's birthday 2 weeks ago now. But last week we had cake and we made a bit of a fuss of it, and it helps just bring the team together. That's one thing action coaches taught me about, is celebrate the wins.
100%.
Definitely.
It's so important to build resilience. It's like it's we've got to celebrate the wins, and the challenge is entrepreneurial people don't tend to celebrate. They're always looking at what's next to do, and what hasn't been done rather than what hasn't. And if we don't, then we can erode our confidence, erode our belief in a vision. And if it, not just for ourselves, but also our team. If our team are in a team that doesn't celebrate, it's not so much a fun of a place to be. So
it's really important that we recognise team members like all the time as well. And also not just, but that we recognise Simon as well as a good leader, and it's vital that we constantly do that. And I think we're always trying to get that across to companies how important it is.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's so vital that we it's because we spend a third of our life in work, and we should make
it be happy,
enjoyable, rewarding, fun place to be, without doubt. You mentioned your backgrounds a little bit, but if you tell us a little bit more about your backgrounds and how you got into business and why this particular one for both of you. What's the thing that drives you forward about this one?
Can we just start? Yeah, so I've always been sort of, in software engineering. So I came from university, Sheffield Hallam. Actually, I did software engineering there, and sort of left uni and ended up running an IT department. And I've always had this interest in knowledge management. So, how you keep that knowledge within an organization, how you document business process. But sort of mid 2000s, there was this product called Microsoft SharePoint. And I'd been traveling, came back from traveling, and this was just about to get launched. And I was like, I started looking, I was like, even I could sell this to my manager. And if I can sell it to my manager, then I'm sure other people can. So I just jumped into that.
Brilliant.
And yeah, so that's kind of evolved. The community around SharePoint, I think because it's around sharing information and bringing all of us up, sort of making us all better, there's something about that. And so, we all help one another, and that kind of comes into thinking about a business and how it can kind of come along. And so Microsoft moved, from having this software which is running on a server and a network, moving to cloud compute. And Office 365, Microsoft 365 has evolved, and sort of mid what's that, 2013, I think it was. So I just followed that trend. And I'll be honest, when I started iThink 365, I wanted to do something else. I wanted to have my own business. I kind of enjoyed contracting, but I was worried about how that scales, and it doesn't. And I wanted to do my own thing, and I wasn't really sure what we're going to do, except it was going to be around Microsoft 365, and so it's just evolved from there, really.
Brilliant.
So that's kind of that's sort of where we've got to now. That constant evolution and being people focused is really where it's got. Yeah,
that makes perfect sense. How about yourself, Yvonne?
So obviously, like I said before, my background was accountancy, and I came out of the industry in 2020. I actually I know Simon's old action coach. And I just had a coffee with him one day, and he said to us, I know someone that needs somebody like you. And that's literally how it happened. And to be honest, I didn't actually tell Simon this at the time. I was a complete technophobe. He knows this now. I was really scared of technology. Technology is one of them things. If someone else could do it for us, I would be happy for that to happen. And as long as it worked, now I absolutely embrace it, love it. It's a game changer for me in every sense. And I wish I'd known what I know now when I had my business, because it would have been very, very different. So yeah, I've literally come into this. The job didn't exist, did it, Simon? So I've sort of made the job, and it's just evolved. It's evolved over the last sort of 20 months, and and I like I say, I love it, and I love technology now. Embrace it every day.
Brilliant. And so as you've grown, what are some of the biggest challenges that you've had to overcome?
So 2 years ago it was how do we deliver all this work we've got, and resourcing, and very much working on working in the business rather than sort of on it. Last year, it was we could see is that sort of the number of projects was coming down, and so we were then starting to look at how we generate leads and opportunities, and that's where a lot of the focus has come in. Yvonne's been fantastic in helping us increase our presence on LinkedIn, and pushing out the marketing. We've tried lots of different techniques, and we're getting there now. So now where we are, it's getting the leads and the opportunities, and I have to say that it really does feel like business sentiment has shifted. We're starting to get to the point now where all right, we've got too many things going on. We're going to think about as well, which is great. But so it's that again, feast and famine. So lead, opportunities, conversion, and then they're managing those projects. So those have been the biggest challenges. My challenge has been managing time, and I've learned lots of techniques to help again, action coach techniques, things like, the default diary, being able to say, right, every Thursday we do marketing posts, we look at the leads and opportunities, and we sort of set those calendar appointments every day. That's been a game changer, actually.
Brilliant. It's funny how something so simple, and I guess a lot of the things you do, it's obvious after you've done it that would make a sensible thing to do, if you know what I mean. But until you see it, go, oh, I never thought that. And I was, it's been great, so much learning that I've had joining and being part of Action Coach, even though I had a successful business previously, was realizing how much I didn't know. And so it's been absolutely wonderful, brilliant.
Business is a learning curve, isn't it? You constantly, and I think you never stop learning. I think business people who think that they know everything, they're the ones that are setting themselves up to fail. It's those that that we all know we don't know everything. Constantly learning, that's really important as well as a business leader.
Definitely. That's what makes it fun, isn't it? The learning, the evolution. Yeah, absolutely.
It's a funny thing, and I think a lot of people I've probably met historically and still meeting think they're doing business wrong because they've got problems, and it's like, no, that I was told a long time ago by the then CEO of Action Coach that the job of a business owner is to solve problems. And that's what it is. So and so if you don't like problems, then perhaps not be in business. And it really stuck with me. And since then, I've come to sort of consider that problems are caused often by growth. That's sort of causing growing pains. So if we don't have any problems, it probably means we're not growing as effectively or as fast as we could do. Now and again, it's nice to have a little bit of a hiatus, isn't it, where everything's a fairly steady. But it's like if we're not growing, if we don't grow, we probably won't have a problem. It's other than the ultimate problem of probably, I think Michael Gerber said a business is like a tree; it's either growing or dying. So growth is required, and growth causes problems. So it's almost like, great, bring it on. Which I think helps a little bit sometimes when we go, oh, not another one.
Definitely. Yeah, it's funny as well. Like, as a developer, when you're building software, you've always got problems. It's sort of a similar thing. You've always got the next problem. Oh, why is that code not doing that? And then you get over that, and then it's the next one. Same exactly with the business. It's like,
Okay. It's funny because I was trained as software engineer too, funnily enough, Simon. And
cool.
I remember helping people. I think some of the coaching skills came from helping people walk through the code with them and just ask the question of explain, and then going, oh, I see where I've gone wrong. And I think I always think back to those days when I was just saying, well, just talk me through. And all of a sudden it becomes obvious what the problem was. Fascinating. And whether it's from the problems or from other sources, what would you say the biggest learnings that you have about growing a business?
So recently, and I say the recently, I see in the last 18 months, it's just how important sales is, and that marketing activity. That's probably the biggest one, because it nearly killed us, So that's been the biggest learning curve we've got. I mean, at the start, it was learning about accounts and that side of things, and then it's evolved, learning a bit about marketing and. But recently it's been the sales side and the marketing side. That's the bit, and taking that Action Coach 5 ways, putting actually some reports which we can look and we can see what conversion rates are, and starting to get those somewhere visible which we can see and monitor and track. That's a big difference as well. So so measuring as well.
Brilliant. I mean, and again, it's one of those sort of obvious things, because we measure lots of things in our, we can't live a life without measuring, the fuel in the car, the speed we're going, the temperature and of the central heating or whatever it would be. And yet, again, it becomes a bit of a blindly flashing obvious that we need to do the same for our businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. So recently, I mean, we do the 90-day plans, and the last 90 days was putting together. Being able to see what the billing utilization and non-billable utilization of all the teams were,
Brilliant.
and having a report around that, which is quite eye-opening as well. And so you can then see, and that helps with resource planning
Yep.
and that side as well. That's been a big area. That's made a big difference to it. And Yvonne, you put together cash flow forecasts and having that, and keeping an eye on that, and sort of really planning out this month, the next month, what things are looking in. It gives that ability to then go, right, we need to focus on this area.
I think we've learned massively, haven't we, that we need to look ahead. We really need to sort of always be looking at least 3 months ahead, and not just focusing on what's happening now. That's been a real sort of learning curve for us. And also, I think the team, we've got the most amazing team around us now. It's like we've always had a good team, but I don't know, we seem to have a really good core now, and that's really I think that's, again, really vital for a successful business, to have the right people around you.
Yeah, that's a very good point. We have this concept, we talk about the engaged employee, and a lot of this comes from Microsoft, something called Microsoft Viva, which is around set of products around employee experience. And they talk about this engaged employee, and there's someone who's vested in the business, they're kind of bought into the mission of the business, and they want to help drive it forward. And if you've got lots of those, businesses are, a better place to live. People are, or work, they're happier, more profitable. Like all the metrics that you want, more productive, but happier as well. I think that's fantastic. So, and they stay longer as well. So
you're probably where we sort of operate that principle of finding the things that people are good at and they love. And I mean the route, a route that way. I think it was Brian Tracy said, the most successful organizations are the ones where most people spend most of their time doing the 3 things they really love and they're really good at. Which again is an obvious thing to say, but it's like, let's just focus on the stuff that you love, because if you're good at it, you love it, and if you love it, you're good at it. They go together so well, and yet we can spend so much time doing stuff we're not good at and don't love, probably because we're not good at it. And let's just get everyone in the right, in the right place, doing the right things, and engagement, joy brings profit, and efficiency, and it's just makes. A happy business is very much a profitable business, without a doubt.
Definitely.
And I think that is also a little bit, whenever you do the action coach, you talk about the identity iceberg and your beliefs and values and things, and often it's not realizing actually that again, action coach kind of opened my eyes up to, right, well, let's create something, a bucket list. What are the top 100 things you want to get out of life? Oh yeah, actually this life thing is for enjoying and and celebrating and having fun. And I think often maybe my parents probably didn't enjoy work as much, and they didn't really have their life organized in a way which it was fun, and it's quite liberating to be able to create that environment where they can work and enjoy. So
wonderful. No, I agree. I mean, it's like that's the point, that's the point of life in general, is to enjoy it, I would suggest. And I think historically, I mean, the culture was you worked at something that you may or may not enjoy, so that you could have 2 weeks in the summer doing something else that and it's like, well, why not find your purpose, find stuff that you enjoy all the time, and that's ultimate engagement. And I mean, is that there is that phrase which I think is very relevant, but it's sometimes a little bit cliche, but it's if you find something that you love, you'll never do another day's work in your life.
And
it's because it's enjoying it. And funny enough, someone I'm working with today was just saying that they just can't wait for Monday to come along, to get back into work, which is a great.
I love Monday's probably my favourite day of the week. I love Monday. A lot of people hate Mondays, but I think you should go into Monday on a positive note, and it just sets you up for a good week then.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. And obviously you mentioned Action Coach, and which I very much appreciate. But alongside that, I'm keen to know who the best coaches that you've worked with, whether that's business, sport, life in general, who have had the biggest influence on both of you.
So, I mean, a lot of books. So Jim Rohn.
Right.
Yeah, so lots of books. The podcast that I'm absolutely addicted to at the moment is called Acquired, and it kind of details, like the history of a business. It's done Microsoft, Nvidia,
Oh, interesting.
Starbucks, Costco, just done LVMH, HM, sorry,
Yeah, yeah. Louis Vuitton.
Louis Vuitton, yeah, Hennessy, that absolutely, fascinating, and just hearing the stories and some of the techniques and things they've used. That's really enjoy that. As well, things like high performance podcast and
Right.
listening to some of those stories. So it's hearing people's stories, isn't it? The
Yeah.
challenges they've had, and so that's been very useful. Yeah,
It's fascinating just to listen, because I think part of it is also realizing that the most successful people are still ordinary people. They've just done extraordinary things, and that they weren't extraordinary people necessarily. They're defined by that, and therefore, if they can do it, so can we if we choose to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a really good one. It's on Taylor Swift on the Quiet. They're quite long, right? Some of them, they're 4 hours long, right? Okay,
Right.
But I mean, incredible, like where she started when she was 3, singing to people on the beach, and then where she is motivated. Like the reason she's got to where she's got to is because she is just a force of nature, and she's known what she wanted to do, and has just gone and done it, and it's incredible.
Brilliant.
Yeah, a lot of respect for her.
Brilliant. And have you picked up any favourite quotes or sayings along the way? It's I love to collect them. So is there anything from Jim Rohn or anyone else that you find yourself using a lot?
So I don't really have any. No, I'm sorry. I don't,
Oh,
I
good.
don't think I do.
No worries at all.
Yvonne,
I
have you
don't
got
think
any?
I use any. No, I don't think I have any. I've got my little Geordie things, but nothing, no sort of quotes, no.
No, I find myself using some quite regularly, and I just pick them up for people. And I'm the one that sticks out most to me, which I love, was and I've heard this in different ways, but it was the most simplest form of it. And it was a guy who's got a chain of restaurants in York and Leeds, and he said, "Don't look back because you're not going in that direction."
Oh,
Wow,
nice, I like that.
yeah, that's
There's quite a few things about the past and the future,
Yeah.
but I just thought that that's it's bang on. Wonderful. And so, what would you both say you've learned about yourself throughout your journey so far?
For me, it's that bit, like we all have our moments where we're a bit down, and it's that resilience to be able to pick yourself back up again and go again. Like, I think that's the most important thing. Something I'm trying to get my kids to understand is, you're going to fail. You just got to pick yourself back up, and go again, and it's just learning to do that. So I do meditation. That does help me a lot to do that, because it kind of allows me to kind of go, right, throw away those thoughts and note them, but get on again. So that's probably my biggest takeaway.
Brilliant. And Yvonne?
Yeah, I mean, over sort of since I've been working here, I've learned loads about myself. Just, I suppose, my confidence with technology, to be honest, because I didn't have that confidence before. And also I was diagnosed with ADHD not long before I started this. So I've learned a lot over the last couple of years about myself and how I work. And I think, me and Simon have got that off to a fine art now. He knows what I'm good at, and also the things that he sometimes needs to rein me back with a little bit as well. So yeah, it's, but like I said before, it's a constant learning curve. But yeah, I think I've definitely learned a lot over the last sort of 2 years, definitely.
Brilliant.
Yeah, the big bit actually, just thinking about that, Yvonne mentioned is, it's sort of learning to kind of manage people, and but also just sort of trying to set the expectations, so we kind of are not me necessarily setting the expectations, but saying, right, we're going to do this thing. We might be marketing. Like, what are the goals? What do we want to try and achieve? We did a webinar, didn't we, recently? So it's the first webinar we've done on something called Copilot for Microsoft 365. It's generative AI with Microsoft 365. It's like, what is it we want to get out of this? What would this webinar mean? What's the success look like? What does that mean? And so we had some metrics around that. Just coming back to your quote. The one that I do think about is it's where it's luck. We're not lucky unless it's luck is the opportunity and being prepared together. That's what luck is. That's my
Great.
Yeah.
No, I love that because it is. It's like, and I think Liverpool Football Club always had the phrase that people call us lucky, but we find the harder we train, the luckier we get. I think is
exactly.
it's like it don't happen. It don't happen like that. Wonderful. So looking forward now, what does the future look like for you guys, and what challenges do you think you might face, if any?
So yeah, I mean, we've got these products. We've got some partnerships which we're looking forward to announcing over the next couple of weeks. I can't quite do that next, but they're they integrate with some HR platforms, and we're looking to set up some partnerships with those HR platforms. So that is probably our most exciting area, and yeah, driving that growth, and that's going to lead to having to increase sales teams and support teams and development team, and we are doing something around the frontline workers, so employees, who are working in shops or hospitality around hotels, and helping onboard those people and offboard those people. So we're speaking with a very well-known retailer in London next week and talking about that. So that's another avenue which too. So yeah, that's where we're looking to go. So yeah.
Really exciting times ahead.
Sounds really exciting. We look forward to maybe swimming back in another 6-12 months and just seeing.
That'd be cool.
Be fantastic. Yeah, love to.
That'd be really great. And I'm keen to know what you'd say to anyone that's thinking of going into business right now.
Go for it. Just put your first foot forward and just keep plodding along. And you won't have all the answers. You'll find them, but you just have to keep going, and that's the most important. You only fail when you stop. So yeah,
brilliant, love it. Yeah, absolutely. It's not fail. Again, another quote I love it. I think failure is not falling down; it's failing to get. It's not getting up.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
that's it. It's on. And if you started again the business, is there anything significant that you do differently? Do you think?
I think just focusing more on the sales and that side, the marketing side earlier. That would be my big thing, which I would probably do slightly differently. Yeah,
brilliant. And finally, for both of you, what would be the best advice you could give an 18-year-old you if you could go back in time and do so?
Go on, Yvonne.
For me, for me, if I was 18 again, I'd say go traveling and see the world. I'd say that to any. I think I've got 2 daughters. One did it, one didn't. And the one that did, she's just got so much life experience.
Yeah.
I mean, my other daughter has as well, but in different ways. But yeah, I'd definitely say go and do some traveling before you've got your whole life to work.
Yep. Brilliant. Nice.
Buy some Microsoft and Nvidia stock earlier, and
nice one.
And also, start a business a bit earlier than you did. I think that's what I'd like to have done. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, guys, it's been really delightful talking to you, and a lot of learning in what we've discussed. And for anyone that's interested in contacting you or iThink 365, what would be the best way of doing that?
Connect up to us on LinkedIn and follow us on LinkedIn. We're constantly pushing out our emails. Lots of useful tips and tricks and things as well using Microsoft 365. So hopefully they'll find that useful in helping make their business successful. And good luck to them.
Well, thank you so much again. And as I say, let's catch up again another 6-12 months, and we can talk about the things obviously that are happening and will happen for in the future. But for now, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chris. It's been fantastic.
Thank you.